Welcome to this special edition of Series Talk from the NIRSA Championship Series. From our Tallahassee studios, I'm David Peters, and this is the road to the NIRSA National Soccer Championships. Coming up on today's show, we'll take the 96 collegiate teams that are headed to Round Rock, Texas, November 21st through 23rd, and divide them up into pools to be ready for pool play on the first day of competition, November 21st. We've got women's and men's championship and open divisions to go through, plus we'll have Marty Dempsey from our Gainesville studios joining us with special guests to talk about the championship experience and to analyze this year's tournament field. So stick around for all of that coming up in this edition of Series Talk. But let's take our first 24 teams, and that's the Women's Championship Division, and divide those up into 8 pools for pool play. Again, 8 pools. Each pool has 3 teams here in our Women's Championship Division. The top 2 teams from each pool will advance to the championship playoff brackets, and the third place team will continue, but in a consolation bracket at the tournament. And to get started in Pool A, we'll start with our reigning national champions. Ohio State leads off with Kansas and Cornell. And in Pool B, it's Clemson, a semifinalist from last year, alongside UConn and Grand Valley State. In Pool C, we have Wisconsin. The Badgers will face off with the Eagles of Boston College and the Bruins of UCLA. And in Pool D, it's Colorado, the College of New Jersey, and Illinois, another semifinalist from 2018. In Pool E, we've got Virginia Tech, UC Santa Barbara, and the Owls from Rice. And Pool F has Cal Poly, Colorado State, and the Tar Heels of North Carolina. And our final 2 pools start with Pool G, and that has Texas, Minnesota, and Southern Cal. And Pool H has Michigan, Gonzaga, and James Madison. Let's take a look at all those pools once again, from Pool A to Pool H, 3-team pools. The top 2 from each of these divisions, or each of these pools, will make it into championship playoff brackets. We'll look at those brackets coming up in just a bit. You can follow all the coverage all weekend long at our championships on NIRSAplay.com or on social media at NIRSAChamp. But right now, let's go down to Gainesville, where my colleague Marty Dempsey is standing by with a special guest. Marty?
All right, Dave. So thanks. That is the championship draw from the women's side. Really excited now to be here with a special guest. Is Tori Hinton. She is a senior wing from Ohio State, our defending national champions on the women's side. Tori, thanks for being with us here today.
Thanks for having me.
First question I had for you is, last year I know we were interrupted at the tournament by some severe weather. We had to actually relocate cities, pick it back up. And through all of that, your team was able to come out as champions. So talk to us a little bit about what that adversity taught you and how you were able to overcome that to be crowned champions last year.
I know that when the rain started in Alabama, we were all a little down about it, but still had a lot of passion and tenacity to go into the semifinals. Unfortunately, when it was called, we kind of got, sad about it, but we kind of kept that passion and the dedication that we had worked so hard on. And then we learned that there was another chance to play, and it reignited like none other. So we refocused, we worked on our fitness, we worked on our physicalities, and came back to Vanderbilt wanting it more than ever. And I hope that showed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad, from our side as well, that we were able to crown that out. It was a tough year for weather across all of our sports in NIRSA. So what has been the mindset this year? What has changed? Now you are the hunted, right? You are the defending national champions. Everybody's gunning for that top spot. So how has that mindset helped prepare you for this year's run?
So going into this year after winning in the spring has been a different type of challenge for us. We always work throughout the year on our talent, our skills, and our fitness. But this year in the back of our minds is always there's a target on your back. We're working. We go into every game expecting a big challenge, and how we better ourselves from it is, what we're looking for. So as the season has gone on, we've learned more about ourselves as a team and about how to defend our championship, what we need to put into, what we lack still, and what other teams are bringing. So it's been a different game and different season, I'd say, that we faced, but a successful one, to be back at NIRSA again.
Yeah, absolutely. And this year it's going to be definitely tough to repeat. As we look at the championship field, there are 21 out of the 24 teams in the championship field that competed at this tournament last year. So lots of experience there. When you take a look at some of the challengers, who are some of those greatest threats to you that you've had a really good rivalry and competition with?
I know in our region alone, we always face big challengers. Every year, we always get really focused and settle into, these are great teams. A few of the people that we've seen this year are Michigan and Illinois. They have proven they are a deep, talented, passionate, and skilled team. And they come out with passion, tenacity, every game that we've played them. And this year was no different. Have given us multiple runs for our money throughout the season, and even in regionals showed how talented they were.
No doubt, no doubt. Region 3 has certainly become a hotbed for soccer, especially on the women's side there. You know, Tori, it takes a lot to be successful on the field, as you have demonstrated and shown here today, but it also takes a lot for our clubs to be successful off the field. And I think a lot of people don't realize, what it really takes to be a successful sport club overall. As the current president of your team, what has that experience taught you and, prepared you for your career and really gone into your student experience at Ohio State?
First, being president was something I never could have imagined. Being a freshman, I watched the president control everything, make sure it's organized and run smoothly. And I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to be elected president, which has been none other than an incredible experience. However, you are in charge of so many varying personalities and dealing with so many different people in the club sports world and different venues, different teams, and it really teaches you how to work with people. I think organization and efficiency is so important because your players are counting on you to make sure they can play the sport they're passionate about, while also making sure that other teams aren't let down. And we are lucky enough to have like a good parental following. So all of our parents come support us as well, and getting information to them about games, tournaments, hotels, travel is so important. So one of the biggest things has been organization and just making sure everything is efficient and running smoothly.
Yeah. Well, one of the bedrocks, behind the NIRSA Championship Series is really that experiential learning through sport. The competition between the white lines is so important, but really it's the development of all of our athletes, even outside the lines, getting to the tournament. All of those organizational skills that takes to go into that is really what we are all about within the series. So last question I have for you is, what is it going to take for Ohio State to get back to the national championship and reclaim that crown?
Our run at defending national champions is taking everything we've put in preseason, during season, and then our work now until the championship. But I think something that a lot of people don't think about is the mental state you go into it, the drive that you have, what you're going to do to make sure that your team wins. I think in building a team, you also build a family, and that's what we focus so much on. Can we build our family to get to the championship, repeat the results, and find a successful tournament for us? Comes down to the passion that we all have for the sport that we love, and you will hopefully be seeing it on the field when we play in Texas.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and safe travels out to Texas, and looking forward to the 2019 National Championships. This has been Tori Hinton from the Ohio State Women's Soccer Club and defending national champ. Dave, we'll kick it back to you to learn a little bit more about the open side of the women's draw.
Hey, thanks very much, Marty. Let's continue on. 24 more teams this time, our Women's Open Division. On the Open Division side, we have 6 total pools, each with 4 teams, and only the top team advances to the Open Division playoffs out of those 6 pools, plus 2 wild cards, and that's all determined by performance at the tournament, and they'll make those selections there at the tournament site, along with putting the 8-team bracket together. But let's go on now and talk about those pools, and it starts with San Diego State, our reigning Open Division national champion, and they'll face off with Penn, St. Edwards, and Iowa in Pool A. In Pool B, Iowa State, Vermont, Central Michigan, and Western Oregon. The Ducks of Oregon are in Pool C, and they'll battle the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and the Minutemen of UMass Amherst. Pool D has Missouri, Miami of Ohio, East Carolina, and Northern Colorado. And in Pool E, it's Penn State, Air Force, Kennesaw State, and Texas A&M Galveston. Finally, in Pool F, Cal Berkeley, Colorado, Boston University, and Georgia Southern. In fact, let's take a look at all of those pools. Again, 14 pools, 6 total pools. The top team makes it to the playoffs along with 2 wild cards. The championship game for our Open Division is on Saturday at 1 p.m. Central. You can follow all the coverage on NIRSAplay.com and online through social media at NIRSA Champ. All right, it's time to continue our analysis. We'll go back down to Marty Dempsey. We're going to talk about the entire field of women's teams, the championship division and the open division, and perhaps a few predictions. Marty?
All right, thanks, Dave. So the women's championship and open brackets are set, and here to talk about it with us for just a bit here is John Janis from the University of Houston, who serves as our soccer work team chair. So welcome, John, as well as Laurel Hanna from the University of Michigan. She is serving as the commissioner of our Region 3 women's division. She's also on staff at the national tournament, lots of experience there. So welcome to you both.
Oh, well, glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Marty.
John, let's start off with you. As we look at our women's championship bracket first and our pools there, what What really stands out to you when you look through the different pools?
I really like Pool E. It's got Virginia Tech, UCSB, and Rice. Virginia Tech coming out as the Region 2 tournament champion, led by Elizabeth Monlock. They had a really good showing in 2015, went all the way to semifinal. Looking to see them bounce back from that experience. Rice, a little bit of an unknown, undefeated season. Also earned one of the automatic bids from Region 4. And Laura, you got a little bit about UCSB?
Yeah, UCSB has won 7 of the last 11 women's championship national titles, so a perennial powerhouse there in that group.
Wow. Speaking of champions, Ohio State, in our Pool A, we just got done speaking with representatives from their team, talking about their quest for a repeat. Laurel, as you look through Pool A, what is going to stand in Ohio State's way from potentially repeating this year?
Yeah, so a very strong Ohio State team coming back this year. In their pool, they have Kansas, who is really looking to improve on last year's finish in the championship division. Finished kind of middle of the pack there, but they're coming into this tournament with an undefeated season and as champions of the Region 4 North tournament. So they've got a lot of momentum coming behind them there. We also have Cornell coming into the tournament. Their first time here since their 2016 finish as a quarterfinalist, in the 2016 tournament. So we're expecting some of those players to be returning and bringing some experience with them from that 2016 finish.
Speaking of experience, Ohio State is going to be tested all throughout this bracket. If you take a look, 21 out of the 24 teams are coming back from the 2018 tournament. So when we talk about that much experience across, Laurel, let's start with you. What really makes a team successful? What gives it that championship edge year after year at this event?
Yeah, so what we see pretty consistently from year to year from those teams that are very successful is a team that is coming into the tournament that knows who they are and what their game plan is, that sticks to that plan, that plays every game with intensity, but then between games is able to kind of take a step back, stay loose, and have fun within their team. So really staying together that whole time and finding ways to kind of build their team well throughout the tournament as well.
John, what about you?
I couldn't agree more. I think staying loose. It doesn't really matter if you have a coach or you're self-coached. It's really that internal bond that the teams can bring. And if you have that competitive edge, but can maybe not lead to that arguments on the pitch or on the bench about who's going in next, really taking that time to say, we're coming together for a single mission, and that's to win a national championship. I think that's going to be the recipe. And you see the players have the most fun when that kind of attitude, and we enjoy it as tournament staff as well, watching them succeed in that way.
And I love how both of you have really talked about that competitive aspect, but there's so much more to it as well, that bonding, that everything that you are learning off the pitch as you are between the white lines. And that's really what the NIRSA Championship Series is all about, that experiential learning, building on those transferable skills that adds to our student experience here across the board. So switching over now from the championship bracket into the open bracket. And there are some differences there. Some of these teams have already qualified via our lottery draw. John, talk a little bit about the differences and what it's like to be part of this open bracket that we have at soccer.
Yeah, so obviously the difference between the open is a lottery system versus the championship division, where it's a qualification through the regional tournament series that we offer. Really, the open lottery still has 4 teams from each region represented. At least we try to, based off of bids that are put in through back in September. Really, you can see it's a stepping stone from the open to the championship. We have 7 teams that played in the open last year that are now qualified for the championship. So it's a real great, if you're unsure, get in there, get into that open lottery, because more than likely, your next year, the 2 years in, you're going to that championship division.
So, yeah, you mentioned we had 7 teams that moved up from last year being in the open division to this year in the championship division, which means we got to fill those spots. So, Laurel, when you take a look at this open field, a lot of teams that were not involved in last year's tournament, what stands out to you?
Yes, we actually have 7 teams that have never competed in either of the open or the championship divisions with NIRSA Soccer. So this is their debut. They're coming out for the first time to have this experience with NIRSA Soccer. So we have coming in Boston University, Georgia Southern, East Carolina University, Central Michigan University, Texas A&M Galveston, Northern Colorado, and Western Oregon, who have never been on this level of playing field before. So it's very exciting for us to see. And it brings a little bit of a chaos level to the open division with a third of the teams having never seen any of this competition and vice versa. So we're really excited to get those 7 new teams in here and getting them to have that first experience that, as John mentioned, they may compete again next year. They may get promoted next year to the championship division, and really having that NIRSA soccer experience throughout.
Sure, absolutely. Well, one of the teams that has been here and is very familiar with the open bracket is our defending champion, San Diego State University. Laurel, I know you had a lot of experience with them last year. So noting that experience, what is it going to take for San Diego State to repeat in that bracket?
Absolutely. So we talked about what it takes to be successful in the championship division. It's the same in the open. This is a team that comes in, has a really strong team culture, sticks to their game plan, plays hard for every minute of every game. And as soon as that game's over, they are best friends again. They're having that team component and that fun, loose atmosphere that's keeping everyone up in good spirits and things like that. So this team knows how to stay focused. They know how to have fun. And it's been fun throughout the years to see how they have really operated and bought into their team culture and how that has improved their finishes. So they finished as quarterfinalists in 2016, semifinalists in 2017, and then they obviously, as we said, won the open division last year.
And we can't wait to see them as well as the rest of all of the 48 teams that will be competing in the women's championship and the open divisions this year coming up in Round Rock, Texas. So we're going to kick it back over to Dave, who has got our men's championship and our open draws. So again, John, Laurel, thanks for your time, and we'll be back here in a few moments.
Thanks very much, Marty. Let's shift gears and move over to the men's side of the tournament. 48 more teams, the first 24 here in our men's championship division, where once again we have 8 pools, 3 teams per pool. The top 2 teams will advance to the championship brackets, while the third place team will move into a consolation bracket separately. Beginning with Pool A and Ohio State, as semifinalists last year, they'll battle Drexel and the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. In Pool B, it's Wisconsin, the Colorado School of Mines, and UC Santa Barbara. Pool C starts off with last year's runner-up, North Carolina, Delaware, and Minnesota. And in Pool D, it's BYU, Iowa State, and Texas A&M. In Pool E, Texas, alongside Michigan and Colorado State. And in Pool F, Florida, the reigning champions, along with Tufts and Michigan State. In Pool G, looks like this. It'll start with Colorado, Southern Cal, and Arkansas. And Pool H has the Seminoles of Florida State, the Mustangs of Cal Poly, and the Scorpions of Texas Southmost College. In fact, here are all those pools once again, from Pool A to Pool H, 3 teams in each. The top 2 teams make it to the championship division playoffs. Pool play starts on Thursday, the playoffs begin on Friday, and the championship is on Saturday afternoon at 5 p.m. Central. You can follow all the coverage on NIRSAplay.com or on social media at NIRSAChamp. All right, it's time to take a break and talk about that championship experience. Let's go back down to Marty Dempsey now with a special guest. Marty?
All right, thanks, Dave. Well, now that we know what the men's championship draw looks like, I'm joined here by another special guest. It is Pete DiNapoli, a center mid for the defending champion University of Florida Gators. Pete, thanks for being with us here today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So last year, Pete, it couldn't have been a more dramatic way for you all to capture the national title last year. So take us through that moment and that last-second victory for the Gators.
Well, it was a game like I've never played in before. It was kind of like a home game for UNC. We were right in Charlotte, so they had a lot of fans hyping them up. But it kind of fueled our fire. And we were really evenly matched, like going down to the last wire, 0-0. And like Cinderella story, banger at the end of the game puts us through, and never celebrated like that before. So shout out to Tyler Garrison on that one.
Just an amazing goal, an amazing victory for the Gators. And you mentioned, having to travel. Of course, the rain last year at the national championship, had to move the game to another city. But going forward to this year, you recently faced UNC again up at the regional tournament, and I know this time around UNC got you. I know you'll be looking forward to facing them again at the national tournament. But what did that game do for you? What did that tournament experience at regionals, maybe even that setback, what will that do for your preparation for nationals?
Well, it showed a lot of our new guys on the team, the caliber of the teams we're going to face here. So it got to give them a little experience on what it's going to take to go back and win it all. Because UNC is a great team. I look forward to playing them again.
Sure. And you mentioned that you had a lot of new guys on the team. You graduated a lot of leaders off of last year's team. Others step up into new roles. Newcomers have been asked to contribute in significant ways. What's been the biggest challenge so far, and how has your team grown from the beginning of the season until now?
Well, biggest challenge is we got guys lined up and they're all fighting, trying to get that spot in the starting lineup. And so far, they've been doing well. And our biggest challenge now is just staying healthy and getting our fitness up as high as we can.
Sure. Your favorite part about being involved in a sport club overall? I know you serve in multiple roles, not only as the center mid for your team, but you're also the vice president. So what is the best part about being involved in a sport club?
I mean, it's just memories, man. Like, I'll remember that championship finals for the rest of my life, and all the friends I've met along the way. It's just been a great experience.
What does that do? What does being involved in a sport club do as far as your overall student experience at the University of Florida?
Well, it's definitely opened up a lot of different opportunities, like off the field too, networking with alumni and other people along in the university. So it's been beneficial all around.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you most looking forward to for this year at this year's national championship?
Oh, we're going back. We're winning it all. We're going 2 for 2.
A lot of confidence out of Pete. I wouldn't expect anything different from our teams, but it's going to be a long road as we have 23 other teams that are vying for that same national title. The Gators are now hunting for it. So, Pete, we wish you the best of luck moving forward out in Round Rock, Texas at the 2019 National Championships.
Thanks for having me.
Dave, we got one more bracket left to see, so talk to us a little bit about the open bracket for the men's division. Back to you, Dave.
Hey, thanks very much, Marty. Just 24 teams remain. They're in our open division, and so we'll divide those up into 6 pools of 4 teams each. The top team in each of our open division pools advances to the open division playoffs, along with 2 wild cards. And we'll have all of that sorted out at the tournament site based on performance. But again, win and you're in, I guess is the motto here in the open division. Let's take a look at those pools, and it starts with Utah Valley in Pool A, one of the finalists from last year, alongside Xavier, the B Squad from Minnesota, and Georgia Highlands. Pool B features Arizona the Wildcats, Towson, Missouri, and the Bobcats of Ohio University. In Pool C, it's UCLA, another finalist from last year, along with the Catamounts of Vermont, Grand Valley State, and the Jayhawks of Kansas. And Pool D has Miami of Florida, SUNY Cortland, Cal State San Marcos, and the Boilermakers of Purdue. In Pool E, we'll begin with James Madison, going against Cornell, Cal State Fullerton, and St. Edwards. And in Pool F, it's Virginia Tech, Penn, LSU, and Colorado College. All right, let's take a look at all of those once again from Pool A to Pool F. 4 teams in each. The top team will advance to the Open Division playoffs along with 2 wild cards. The championships for the Open Division will be held, those matches, on Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time. You can follow all the coverage online at NIRSAplay.com or at NIRSAChamp on social media. All right, it's time to go back down to Marty Dempsey in Gainesville once again for some analysis of all of the teams in men's, championship division, and open division. Perhaps a few more predictions. Marty, take it away.
All right, thanks, Dave. So the entire field is set now. We know where the placement is for all 96 of our teams. I'm back here with John and Laurel to really break down the men's bracket. Laurel, let's start with you. As we look through the pools, my eye got caught on Pool E, where we have Texas, Michigan, and Colorado State. Out of the last 9 years at the championships, these teams have a combined 24 appearances. Lots of experience there. Talk about Pool E.
Yeah, a lot of experience coming in. We'll start with Texas. They had a really hard-fought season, battling with very competitive teams in Texas Tech and Texas A&M, kind of trading throughout the year, but ultimately coming out on top in the regional tournament. So a lot of good iron-sharpening games for that team. And it'll be interesting to see when we're playing right next door in Round Rock, Texas, if there's a little bit of a home field advantage there for the Texas team.
Sure.
Another very tough team coming off of a successful season and get competitive Region 3, coming into nationals with momentum as the Region 3 co-champion. We have the University of Michigan. So this team is very dangerous. It should be a great matchups with Texas and Colorado State, who is consistently competitive year to year in the championship division. This team is looking to come back and improve every time they show up. So they should be very competitive as well. So this will definitely be a pool to watch.
Switching over to our Southeast region, last year in the national championship featured 2 teams from the Southeast, Region 2 with Florida versus North Carolina, with Florida, winning the national championship last year. These 2 teams had a rematch this year at the Region 2 regional tournament. John, I know you were there. Talk about those 2 squads.
Yeah, so North Carolina, Florida met up in the semifinals. North Carolina, led by Stephen Ryan, took the game 2-1. So for me, those two teams neck and neck coming into the season. I think that's a kind of the future of what I'm looking for in the favorite. So really looking at that Pool C with North Carolina, right? They've got the history. Then Minnesota and Delaware, both competitive teams. Minnesota was in the Open last year, went all the way to the semifinals. Delaware's got some strong history in the tournament. I think they're in for some tough games coming here in Round Rock.
Sure. Switching over into that Open division again, we talked about Region 2 and Region 3 with Michigan and, of course, the two finalists from last year and how deep those regions are. But Region 6 out on the West Coast is really deep as well. They're sending 5 teams into the Open bracket. John, talk about how deep some of these regionals are and how tough it really is to come through and how competitive that's going to make our Open division this year.
Yeah, specifically looking at Arizona, Utah Valley, and UCLA, three strong Region 6 teams in that Open to keep an eye on. I think the depth of soccer out there is just nationally known. I think we talked about that Region 3, but really some Region 2 teams as well, flipping into the other coast to watch in the Open. It's going to be James Madison, Virginia Tech. They've had a lot of history at the tournament. Virginia Tech habitually kind of goes back and forth between the championship and Open division year to year. So I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to come up top. Is it Region 2? Is it Region 6? It's going to be an exciting year for sure.
A lot of teams that, they can compete in either bracket, whether it be the Open or championship division. It's going to make for some really exciting action out in Round Rock. But Laurel, switching over to you, just like we talked about with the women's, the Open division is a great stepping stone for some of our new clubs. So talk about some of the teams that are coming for the first time ever on the men's side.
Yeah, definitely. So we have 3 teams coming for their first time ever here for the men's Open in Cal State San Marcos, Vermont, and the Georgia Highlands. These are some absolute wild cards. We've never seen them before. I haven't heard much about any of these 3 teams. So lots of uncertainty in the Open, which should make for some really exciting matchups.
Can't wait to see them out in Texas. Now we've talked about both the women's and the men's bracket. We've got 100 total teams coming this year to Round Rock. What are you two most looking forward to from the tournament this year? Laura, we'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah, so brand new facility for us. We've never played here in Round Rock. Lots of good planning coming from the city, so we're excited to play on this new facility. The volume of new teams that we've talked about is very exciting. It should bring a lot of new dynamics to all of these tournaments. And then this year we're launching our first ever unified division for the National Soccer Tournament, which is a partnership with Special Olympics, which should be really cool to see. And we encourage everyone to go check it out between games and things like that.
John?
Yeah, so I've had a scope within the region for a long time, Region 2 and Region 4, and then this year coming in as a work team chair for soccer, really seeing that on a national level of the time and resources that NIRSA professionals and students are putting into this tournament. It's our largest Champ Series event that we host, and it is just a spectacular. The people that you're going to engage with are excited to be there and excited for you as a student athlete to be there. I think that's just what I'm looking forward to the most, to see that kind of come to fruition again in 2019.
We would be remiss if we didn't mention here longtime UNC coach, mentor, and friend of the series, Lars Van Dam, who recently passed away. So we wanted to first send our thoughts and prayers to the UNC and our entire NIRSA family that has been close with Lars. John, I know you have spent a good deal of time with the UNC team. You know Lars. What was his impact on not only North Carolina but the entire NIRSA soccer realm?
Yeah, Coach Lars was around North Carolina since 2008, and both an assistant and head coaching capacity. Just a gregarious guy, always willing to invest into the women's club soccer team at North Carolina and ultimately to Region 2 soccer as a whole. He wanted to ensure that the regional tournament, the national experience was the best for not only his team, but for everyone, and really valued his friendship over the years. And it's really hard to see. I'm looking forward to North Carolina women overcoming that grief this year and really showcasing that at the national tournament. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, again, our thoughts and prayers from the entire NIRSA family to North Carolina, and again, all the people that Lars touched over the years. And there you have it, folks. Our 96 teams in the women's and men's at our unified division. We're going to have 100 teams coming to Round Rock, Texas. So again, appreciate John and Laurel for helping break it down for us. And Dave, will send it back out to you.
Hey, thanks so much, Marty and company. We appreciate you helping us get ready for this year's tournament. Okay, a couple final reminders before we go, and let's start with how our teams are slotted into the playoff brackets. Pretty important. Well, first on the Open Division side, we mentioned it's just 8 teams, 6 pool champions, and 2 wild cards. And there's no predetermined bracket on the Open Division side. In fact, our tournament administrators will slot the teams based on performance and get you ready for that Open Division Championship, which is on Saturday. The playoffs for Open will start on Friday. On the Championship Division side, however, we have a predetermined bracket. We know exactly where each pool play winner and each pool play runner-up will go in that bracket. So take a look. Here it is. You'll see, for example, in the upper left, where our pool champion from Pool A will face off against the runner-up from Pool D, and then our pool champion from H faces the runner-up from Pool E, and so forth down the left side and the right side of the bracket. The tournament is single elimination, and it culminates with our championship matches on Saturday afternoon. The women's final is at 3 o'clock, and the men's final is at 5 p.m. All right, let's round out this broadcast with a few final reminders. Captains should have already received an email from NIRSA headquarters. It's 3 pages long. It's got all kinds of information, but a couple of things to highlight out of that email include check-in, which will occur on Wednesday at the Holiday Inn there in Round Rock between 4 and 7 p.m. Team should send a team representative or team captain, all the necessary paperwork, and again, that's detailed in that email you've already received. If you haven't gotten it, certainly have a team representative reach out to NIRSA headquarters so you can get that information. If you'd like to get some practice time in for your team, you can do that on Wednesday as well between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the Round Rock Multipurpose Complex. Sign up for a time and a field for your team now. There's a link in that email that you should have already received. Pool play gets started on Thursday at 8 a.m. and playoff action starts as soon as Friday. Things keep rolling all the way through to our championships on Saturday. We'll start early in the morning on Saturday, but the final championship matches begin at 1 p.m. with our Open Division for men's and women's, along with our Unified Division. 4 teams in our partnership with Special Olympics will be there, so we have 100 teams in all at this year's NIRSA National Soccer Championships. The Championship Division, National Championship matches, 3 o'clock for the women, 5 o'clock for the men at the Round Rock Multipurpose Complex. You can follow everything that happens all weekend long on our website, NIRSAplay.com, and on social media at NIRSAChamp or hashtag NIRSASoccer. And that'll do it. Thanks to Marty and all of our special guests. We appreciate you joining us today. Good luck to all of our teams as you make your way to Round Rock for this year's NIRSA National Soccer Championships. I'm David Peters in Tallahassee. Good luck to all of our teams. And Series Talk is a production of NIRSA, Leaders in Collegiate Recreation.